You know, I thought this was going to be a quiet week until a whale came up right under the boat. On this small Canadian island, anything can happen. That's why I come here. But this week is different. It's mid-September. Usually the air is cooler and there is less fog along the maritime coast in September. Not this week. This may be the best scenery I never saw. All right, let's work it. We're going to have to try a little harder to squeeze some birding adventure out of this week. The island is Grand Manan, a Canadian island in New Brunswick that's 8 miles off the coast of Maine. I know every inch of this island, which is good because in fog this thick, you got to know where to look. Getting there is half the fun. In summer, there are 2 big ferries that serve this island. It takes 90 minutes to cross a channel so rich in sea life that you may see whales, dolphins, and porpoises before you even get there. There are birds out here you may never have seen before. The ferry cabin is big and comfortable, but I never go in there. It's too much fun out here. The shadows are already low by the time we arrive at Whale Cove in the north end of Grand Manan. Whale Cove cottages have been around for a long time. Famous American author Willa Cather built one of them 102 years ago. The ringneck pheasants came along later. They raise a lot of babies in this grass. It's an island, and there aren't many predators. Well, no fog at sunset. If we don't have any fog in the morning, we should be all right. It's daybreak. It's foggy. Let's go to the best place on the island. According to eBird, of the top 100 places to go birding in New Brunswick, the top 4 are on Grand Manan. And this is number 1, Castalia Marsh. More birds and more rare birds have been seen here than any place else in New Brunswick. Foggy? A little bit today, but this is maritime Canada. What did you expect? Think of it this way. If you get a really sunny, beautiful day on Grand Manan, think of it as winning the lottery. Bald eagle just taken off. That'll scatter the gulls. There are 2 sides. The marsh has the waterfowl, wading birds, and taller shorebirds. The beach has the peeps. Lots and lots of peeps in season. A lot of semi-palmated sandpipers. Quite a few least sandpipers. White rump sandpipers. What is up with the white rump sandpipers? There are a lot of them today. I rarely see this many. You'll notice they're a little bigger, plumper, and have darker markings along the breast extending out of the wings. Semi-palmated plovers all over the place, and most of them young. These are the first of the year. They come through late. Another good thing about birding in the fog, you don't have to carry a heavy spotting scope. Can't see that far anyway. Sanderlings, lesser yellowlegs, there's about 30 black-bellied plovers in the neighborhood. At least 1 American golden plover that I saw yesterday, and the last flying flock that went by me had 2 short-billed dowitchers in it, but they're not on the beach with these guys. Wait for them to fly. Blackbellies have white rumps, goldens are the same color from back to tail. All blackbellies. I don't think I've ever seen so many American pipits as are on this beach today. No wonder the peregrine falcon is still hanging around. So what happened in migration last night? A lot more white-rumped sandpipers have come in just since yesterday. Shorebirding is funny. The little ones will let you get pretty close. Leaf sandpiper, the closest, semi-palmated sandpiper, white-rumped sandpiper, semi-palmated plover. They'll let you get pretty darn close without worrying about you. But the big ones, the black-bellied plovers, the lesser and greater yellowlegs, they're chickens. That was a better than average morning. But if you really want to have a lot of fun at a spooky place in the fog on Grand Manan, nothing beats Dark Harbor. Sunny days on Grand Manan are great. Foggy days, even better. If I'm spending a sunny week on Grand Manan, I'll wait for the dark day to come to Dark Harbor. I mean, I'm not much of a filmmaker, but even I can't screw this up. There's salmon aquaculture out in these pens, but most of these boats are for harvesting dulse. Dulse is a dark seaweed treasured by longtime Canadians. First generation would eat it by the bag. Second generation would have a handful and like it. Third generation, the current guys, yeah, give me a bag of potato chips. If you live in an island that's only 26 miles long and 13 miles wide, it's hard to find a place to get away. But if you're a local, this is where you get away. The thing about this spot, though, is it's a lot of bushes along a sunny but wet forest edge surrounding this whole harbor. So it's a perfect place to make a lot of sparrow and warbler and flycatcher babies. Fog or no fog, this is a perfect tide to be at the Whistle, which is the local name for Long Eddy Point Lighthouse. What it really is one of the best views on the entire island, looking across the channel to Lubec in the United States and Campobello in Canada. If you catch it on the right tide, the tide just races around this corner and churns up lots of food for the whales and the seals and the porpoises, so they sometimes just gather in here. There are a few black-legged kittiwakes coming in close. Today it seems to be mostly northern gannets taking advantage. Northern gannets nest on Bonaventure Island on Quebec's Gaspé Peninsula, and they're up on Bird Rock in Cape St. Mary, Newfoundland. The adults are all white with black wingtips. Most of these are youngsters. The fog is okay today, we can live with this, but we're going offshore tomorrow. Maybe. We'll see if we can see the sun in the morning. What is this yellow orb in the sky? It's Tuesday, September 12th, 2023. There's a hurricane off Florida, which may be heading this way. The forecast says the fog will return today, but if I can see the morning's first ferry coming in, we might be able to squeeze in today's whale watch. Seal Cove is on the other end of the island. It's a working harbor filled mostly with fishing boats and Sea Watch tours. I haven't been on this boat for years. I tried 3 times last summer, and weather canceled me each time. In early summer, they take people out to the puffin colony on Machias Seal Island. When the puffins start to leave in August, they switch to whale watching. Out of the harbor, past the breakwater. All right, dress in layers and hang on. Those are pens for farm-raised Atlantic salmon over there. Well, this northern gannet is a little closer to shore than usual. Now it gets interesting. Gannet Rock is about 9 miles offshore. Gannets used to nest on it until they built the lighthouse in the early 1800s. Once we get past here, the ocean floor is full of bumps and ridges. There are 20-foot tides here, and when they push over these ridges, these upwellings force food up to where birds and whales can get it more easily. Wilson storm petrels are the most common birds out here today. They nest in Argentina and Antarctica, but come up here in our summer. There are some redneck phalaropes mixed in with them. And they're all in the neighborhood of a pair of adult humpback whales.
This one's going to do the same.
Ooh, looks like a tail. The other one will do it too, probably.
So these dives here.
Oh.
What is
Whale watching has rules, and the number one rule is never approach the whales. But if you stop the boat, don't move, the whales have their own rules, and sometimes they approach you. These two adult whales are just loafing right under the boat for fun. They're showing off. They're watching us as much as we're watching them.
See their pectoral fins? Their pectoral fins are about 1/3 of their body length, so 15 or 16 feet in length.
Well, they just drifted off far enough to finally move again. That is the most time I've spent playing with whales in a long time. Even the captain and crew haven't had that encounter all summer. It's a different tide on the way back, and there's more exposed ledge on Gannet Rock. And you know what that means? Gray seals. Lots of them. Now look up at the building, far right side. Peregrine falcon. That's something you see a lot on offshore islands. Here's something else that happens surprisingly often during migration season in autumn. Songbirds too often get caught offshore. If they don't find a place to land, many don't make it. Birds land on boats all the time, including this common yellowthroat. I think it's a hatch-year male. At first, they're too exhausted to care. But soon, when nobody threatens them, they get pretty comfortable around people. This one rode the boat all the way back to the harbor. The fog is still here, but it's a little thin, and I think we have enough time to try our luck at Southwest Head, since we're on this end of the island anyway. It's going to be tight. Get your stuff. The light station on top of Southwest Head isn't very tall. It doesn't have to be, because it's sitting above some of the highest cliffs in eastern North America. This is the view I like to see here. This is the view today. Sometimes fog obscures the view. Sometimes the fog is the view. I'm thinking there's got to be a better view of the fog somewhere else. At the other end of the island, up at North Head, the fog is the view. Especially since the famous Swallowtail Light is closed up and getting a facelift this summer. I mean, when you think about the Canadian Maritimes, aren't you thinking sometimes, isn't this what it's supposed to look like? Why do you think they put a foghorn here? A foggy day at Swallowtail Lake can be wet, wild, and beautiful, but mostly wet. Fog on Grand Manan is not a problem. In fact, it's got a special charm all of its own. On the other hand,
We've now got some breaking news on Hurricane Lee. Portions of New England are now under tropical storm and hurricane watches.
7 days ago, a tropical wave left the west coast of Africa and drifted out into the Atlantic. Within 2 days, it intensified into a Category 5 hurricane. Only 2 other hurricanes in history have gotten that powerful, that fast. And it's heading this way.